everybody. It's Monica Heltz with your Daily Fishers Health Department update. Today, we're going to talk about Halloween safety. We are getting into the final days before Halloween. I hope you're using your creative brains to think up some really interesting and fun and unique ways to deliver those treats that still maintain distancing. So we'll go through the safest things that you can do for Halloween. If you're wanting to participate, but you're worried about your risk and you don't actually want to come face to face with somebody, the safest and lowest risk things that you can do in times of COVID are to stay home. Perhaps you are going to stay with your household members. That would be the safest way. You could watch a spooky movie together or any kind of fun movie that you like to watch around Halloween. You could set up a scavenger hunt for your family inside your house or even outside in your yard, kind of like an Easter egg hunt, but you could do a scavenger hunt all over your house. You can carve pumpkins. You can have a fire outside and maybe sip on some hot cider and tell spooky stories. If you're going to have a fire, of course, I want you to use your fire safety techniques. Please follow the Fishers Fire Department if you need any thoughts on that. So plenty of fun things that we can do as a family or as individuals to celebrate Halloween without taking on any additional risk for ourselves. In the moderate risk category, this is where we're focusing our efforts from our guidelines as far as how to help you think of ways to make Halloween safer and still do some of the things that we can do out and about. We believe these things can be done safely, particularly because Halloween primarily takes place outside when we're thinking about trick-or-treating, but we still need to use some extra measures to mitigate the risk. So those are really where we focused our tips and tricks that we've been sending out all month that you may have seen on our social media accounts. You can go and look through those if you need any ideas. But basically, if you are keeping in mind those basic mitigation measures of social distancing, hand washing, and wearing your masks, then you're going to be in good shape to think up some creative ways to participate in Halloween and mitigate your risk. So one of the things you could do is have a neighborhood costume parade. Again, make sure everybody stays distanced. You don't want anybody clumped up. Make sure everybody's wearing their mask and not just their spooky Halloween mask, but their protective mask for COVID purposes. You could do a neighborhood scavenger hunt. Something like we did in the quarantine would be very low risk, where you can walk around and look for things in windows. Or you can do something where you're actually searching for things around the neighborhood that people have hidden. There's a lot of really great things I've seen out there to be creative. Again, we have put a lot of tips and tricks on how to distribute candy and participate in Halloween and trick-or-treating while distanced. So I really would encourage you all to use your creative brains to come up with some great solutions. Some ideas that we've had were candy graveyards, where you sprinkle the candy around your yard. Or perhaps you could have some kind of pulley system where you're distributing candy, or maybe even like a ferry with a wagon. You could push it out and then back in. But what we don't want you to do is leave a big bowl out that people are grabbing into. If you are going to open your door to trick-or-treaters, please do not have them dig out of a bowl. Please place the candy in their individual bags without anybody touching anything. So traditional trick-or-treating, such as that, is going to be a higher risk activity. I do want everyone wearing masks if they're face-to-face. You can't be 6 feet apart if you're distributing candy. I understand that it's just a brief period of time, but we do want to decrease that risk as trick-or-treating involves mixing households. Make sure you're washing your hands before you distribute those treats, and for the little ones, make sure they're washing their hands before consuming any kind of treats. Our highest risk activities, I do not recommend doing any of those at this time. Those would be costume parties, particularly if they're indoors, particularly if you're not wearing your safety masks. I do not want any of that happening right now. If you are having a costume party at home with your household members only, please do all of that you want. That could be fun too. But please do not have costume parties that mix multiple individuals in an indoor setting. And if you must, please do insist that everyone wears masks and try to maintain distancing. Haunted houses are not the safest thing, especially because they make people scream. Screaming is a really good way to transmit viruses. It's unlikely that you will keep your mask on properly if you're screaming. So please do be very, very careful about situations like that. Any kind of situation where you're mixing your household, particularly if it's indoor, is going to be higher risk. We can do this. We just need to mitigate things. We need to mitigate that risk. Keep those principles in mind to smash COVID. Remember social distancing, masking, avoiding crowds, staying home if you're sick, and hand washing. Thanks so much, everybody. Be safe out there. Take care.